All right, how's it going, everyone? Welcome. This might be the last episodes for this series, for the clean architecture in Next.js series, because I think we're already there. I think we got everything that we need to implement clean architecture by the book. So I'm pretty excited for this one. In this episode, I thought we would just continue. We would just continue refactoring. Just do something. I thought we would just continue refactoring the controllers and the presenters, just so we can weed out any gotchas, any edge cases that we might have missed. But so far, we got all of the pieces for to implement clean architecture. So I see some folks in the chat. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, let's dive in, shall we? All right, so I want to do a quick recap first. I'm going to go to clean architecture. I'm going to share this with you because this is the diagrams and stuff, and it's open. You can see all the diagrams and also this little thingy that we started writing. This was my initial idea was to do a little recap, so that's going to be the basis of my course. But I think this is just like an overview of clean architecture. I'm not gonna get into and do all of the do an outline for the whole course. That's not gonna be fun for you. So I'm gonna do that off the camera. But this is just a nice overview of what is clean architecture, how it structures code, all of the layers explained, what they are, etc. We do miss some more information, but it's gonna be part of the the course. James, thanks for the sub. Yeah, so check this out if you haven't, because we have the diagrams here, all of these things, so yeah, check it out. Right now we are at this layer. We already completed the application layer, already completed the entities and the infrastructure, and the DEI and the web UI is basically Next.js and everything that's has to do with Next.js. The only thing that was left was the interface adapters, and we did that I think the past 2 or 3 streams. I think it was like past 2. So this is the last stream, because I think we got everything. We have everything to actually start, implementing clean architecture in Next.js by the book, and we're not missing anything. Okay, so let's see some comments. Brihat asks how to fit it in serverless architecture with Dynamo streams, queues, etc. into this clean architecture. Tuan, video has no English sub. I still haven't figured out how to add subs in real time. So yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe I'll look into it, for future live streams to also enable captions. I have no idea how to do that. So I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's get to Brihat's question. How to fit the whole thing, the clean architecture, into serverless with Dynamo streams, queues, etc. So I feel like, because I have not worked with AWS that much to give you like a really good answer, but this architecture doesn't take into account any frameworks. It's just a way to organize your code, a way to structure your code, right? So you would most likely still have use cases, because your app will do something, right? Will perform operations, right? Those operations will be controllers, and each operation does something unique and different. So all of the smaller pieces of every or the steps in those operations, those will be use cases. right? So use cases are, yeah, functions that execute a certain thing. And they usually use a repository, which is in the infrastructure, to save, to save files to the database, or use a service to send something to a different service, etc. So I guess this is where you would fit the whole thing. So you would have the use cases and controllers, but when you would be using queues and dynamo streams, etc., I guess those would be services, right? So you would implement a service for those things, for the dynamo streams, for the queues, and all these things, and you would interact from a use case. You would interact with that service to send messages in the queue or put jobs in the queue, etc. So I guess that would be your that would be, in your case, clean architecture in that serverless environment. What you don't want to do is implement like AWS APIs anywhere here in this section right here in the interface adapters or application or entities, because the whole point is to keep your hard code, hard logic here without actually depending on libraries and such. So this is where you would just keep your logic. Interface adapters orchestrate use cases keep the business logic, and entities keep some like business validation rules. Like, for example, you might have a I don't know, like I'm not sure what your app is about, but let's say for my application, we have links and collections. Let's say the collection must have a title, and the title must be at least 6 characters in length, right? So those are those like rules and validations. They're here. Application or use cases, they contain all the business logic, what needs to happen, and it's every use case is basically using services and repository which live in the infrastructure, so we can so we can flip the dependency or inversion of control. That's what IOC means. And basically use cases are using services and databases and whatever is in your tech stack to communicate with the rest of the the rest of the infrastructure. That's why it's called infrastructure, right? This is your core, basically. This is your app. These three. This is just an interface, a way to use your app. And this is the infrastructure, meaning these are like data sources in most cases, or services like an email service. Like you can basically create an SES service that uses Amazon SES, AWS SES to send emails. So whenever you create a link and you want the user to know about that, inside of the use case, you would grab the registered instance of the email service and just use the method send email, right? So that's how you would keep the dependencies, like the library framework specific dependencies here. You don't want dynamo streams. Queues are okay if it's like a data structure queue. If it's an implementation queue, like an AWS library queue, then you would put it here so that your code remains without any libraries and specific things. Because when you want to test this, you would have to mock dynamo streams, and that could, and most likely will become challenging. So that's why we are isolating framework dependencies at this layer right here. So frameworks, databases, tools, libraries, they're here. We do use libraries, for example, sometimes in the use cases, like UUID or NanoID to generate some fingerprints, some IDs. That's fine, that's all right. It's not a big deal, because those are easy to mock. They're usually like 1 or 2 methods. But if you have like libraries with side effects that send an email right to a database, then you would put that here, because those are hard to mock. And we do not all of them basically, but you need like a good decent class in order to mock it. I'm gonna show you my mocked implementations and you'll see. Hey Tatea, hey Braja Gopal, yeah, how's it going? So yeah, that's how you would, I guess that's how you would fit clean architecture into like a serverless environment where you're using Dynamo streams, queues, or even like microservices. I guess the microservices, I'm not sure in that case, how that would fit here. You know, like I feel like this is more of a monolith approach, because if you have microservices, those are like individual functions, individual mini servers, if you will, right? So you have like a user service, and the user service does something. In that case, what would that be? That would be like this. This would be the user service, right? You might be using, what was that identity thing in Amazon? I keep forgetting about it. The one for users and such. So you would keep that implementation here, right? You would keep that implementation here. The web/UI, that won't be a web UI because it's a microservice. I guess that would be like the API gateway in Amazon, because I haven't worked with microservices, but so far, if I understood correctly, you hit the API gateway and the API gateway knows where to route the request, right? So this would be the API gateway thingy where you're actually interacting with your microservice, and your microservice would be everything except this. So I guess, yeah, IAM, yeah. Yeah, API gateway routes to Lambda. Your Lambda would be this part right here. For example, you might have like a user model, of course. It's going to have its own database because it's a microservice, right? In the application layer, you would have use cases, right? So the user's microservice would have like a get user or update user profile, delete user, I don't know. Those would be the use cases, right? And controllers would represent every operation that could be triggered from that microservice. So I guess that's how you would fit even in microservice architecture, serverless/microservice architecture. So yeah. See some more comments. Keep up with the good work. I'm learning a lot with you. Thanks, Luis. Appreciate it. I'm new to Next.js. Can you start next full-fledged tutorial? These are advanced I am following, and I'm still learning a lot. There's like a lot of Next.js tutorials out there. I even made my own course, but it's not it's not like super updated right now because it uses the pages router. I wouldn't recommend you do watch that. If you want, sure, go ahead, but I think the Next.js Learn official documentation is probably the best resource out there. Too many requests to open the source code. Yeah, wondering what you should do. That's the thing. I'm actually gonna start working on the app, because like open sourcing Bife, I'm not like super opposed to it. I keep it closed source because I still don't have any idea what I'm gonna do with it, and that's why I just decided to keep it closed sourced. But open sourcing Bife for the purpose of you folks learning about clean architecture, I think it's not gonna be the best resource to do that, because it's a very big app. Not very big, but like there's a lot of noise. And for a learning resource, it needs to be as simple as possible, and without any noise, or with the least amount of noise. And noise is just like, let me show you what's noise. Noise is this. If you're learning about clean architecture, then you definitely don't need a project that has this many tests, right? Like I've been hacking away I have no idea how many tests I have. I think I need to run like npm run test to actually see the number, but look at it. So you will receive a project with this many, and I'm not even halfway there, by the way. And if you receive a project with this many tests, and you receive a project with like this many controllers and this many repositories, and digging through the codes, I think it's just going to be overwhelming. It's better if I provide a simple application with like 2-3 controllers, with 2-3 use cases that capture all of the scenarios, right? You might have a controller with and without a presenter. You might have a use case that use a repository or doesn't use a repository. You might have a use case that checks for authorization, or a use case that doesn't check for authorization because get link is a public functionality. Anyone can get a link based on the fingerprint in my case, right? So that's why I'm not open sourcing buffet or buffet. Because it's not a good learning resource. It's a cool side project that I'm working on that makes me able to implement clean architecture and to come up with all of this content. But for a learning resource, I don't think it's like the best one. So I'm gonna be doing you all a disservice if I just throw buffet at you and just say figure it out. Here's a whole, I don't know, a big blob, a big project, and just figure it out. No, I actually want to make a clean, pun intended. I actually want to make a clean project that doesn't have this much noise, and it only contains one specimen per concept, right? You have like a repository, you have a use case, you have a controller, you have a presenter. So I don't hit you with too much stuff. Yeah, that's why. Okay, let's see. Hey, positive Peter. Yeah, is there a GitHub repo to follow current work? There will be. I was just talking about that. I don't think you should worry about noise. I think that's why we're following these streams, to learn together. True, yeah. Some folks prefer, sub 1 hour type of content. I think we're almost at like 20 hours worth of content. But yeah, these live streams are me figuring out, because when I started this project, I had no idea that, all of the challenges that I was going to be met when trying to implement clean architecture. And I had, Buffet nearby. So I was like, okay, let's implement clean architecture in Buffet, because why not? I do plan to release Buffet and like have it be generally available and people use it to create short links and create, collections, etc. So I was like, yeah, let's implement clean architecture in it. I'm going, it's like, two flies with one, or two birds with one stone, or as Jason Langsdorff would have put it, to scratch two yaks with one stick, something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna end up with a clean architecture backend that can support the scale of the project if it happens. But I'm also going to end up with all of this content that apparently you folks really appreciate. So yeah, that's why I decided to, grab Buffet and just try to implement everything in it, but then extract all of my learnings into something more cohesive, into something, simpler and easier to follow. Yeah, so that's oh, where am I? There we go. That's the project situation. In this stream, I want to keep it light, and just like continue refactoring, continue writing tests, all these things, and just to try to identify maybe there's like an edge case hiding in some of the unrefactored code, in some of the messy code that I have. So I want to catch those as well. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. So far, as you can see, I have plenty, right? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 controllers, and there's a lot more, right? So what I did, I went to app collections and actions. This actions file keeps keeps all of my server actions, my Next.js server actions that are to do with collections, right? So if I show you the symbol, oh, no symbols, there should be symbols, but all right. Let me see. Symbols, I need the symbols so I can show you. Aerial symbols, no symbols. Aerial info, nav open, next open. That's weird, but okay. Part of the adventure of using NeoVim. So like create collection, update collection, delete collection, toggle collection, publish, everything that the UI needs. And these are like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 server actions that has to do with collections, right? So, and I'm using these in my app. Is the stream okay? Because I can see like a warning that I can see like a warning that it's not good. Let me know, because I did made some changes to my OBS setup. But yeah, these are these. And by the way, I used to use ZSA, but now I feel like I don't need ZSA. So I just refactored ZSA out of, out of the server actions, because I don't need it, and that's good, right? Because I was depending on a library, which is cool, definitely cool. But now I don't, right? ZSA is cool, but if I can get away with not using ZSA or not using any extra libraries that I don't have to, then cool. And clean architecture actually allowed me to do that, because the way that I structured my code and the way that clean architecture, wants you to structure your code is that you don't actually need all these extra libraries to achieve that functionality. I can still see the warning, but please let me know if you can see the stream in good quality. You can see that I'm pushing 30 kilobits per second. So yeah, let me know. I use NeoVim with WSL2, and sometimes I feel like some input lag when typing. Do you experience the same issue with Kitty? I heard it's quite the fast emulator. Yeah, I think like Alacrity might be faster than Kitty, but for some reason I got used to Kitty, and I don't know. It's like it can be choppy. I'm also using LazyVim, so like all of these updates sometimes do break, the functionality. And LazyVim lately has been pushing a lot of breaking, functionality. I think they're pivoting to something else, and they only, they need to do all these breaking changes. But yeah, I'm not like 100% happy this like past month or so, but I know they're gonna stabilize, sooner than later. So yeah, as you can see, no ZSA here. Why? Because what the ZSA does is it allows you to, to have like a type safety between the client side and the server side, and like a way to implement middleware for server actions, right? So or not middleware, but like multiple steps before your action actually gets invoked. And what I did in those extra steps is first check for authentication, and then check for check if the input is valid using Zod. ZSA is like Zod server actions, right? But I am using Zod anyways. I'm still using Zod. I just don't need ZSA, because I moved all of those checks, the input validation check and the authentication check. I moved all of that into the controllers and use cases, because those are the responsibilities of controllers and use cases, right? Hey, Cabral, how's it going? So yeah, when I started refactoring with controllers and use cases, I was like, I don't actually need ZSA right now, because I don't want that part of the logic to be tied to a library that is specifically tailored for Next.js, right? That is like framework land. And when we are in framework land, we keep logic, crucial logic, away from framework land, right? We want our crucial logic to be here and some of it to be here. So that's why like ZSA might not fit into, and also like next safe actions. I think that was the other package that pretty much did the same. That's why those libraries don't fit in like clean architecture, because that responsibility should not be here, and they're very tied to Next.js. So for like simpler project or projects that don't want to use a clean architecture, they're cool. They really, you know, make it fast to develop things, to prototype things, come up with features. But if we want to keep like a, you know, if we want to run, how was that, a tight ship, something like that, then their implementation does not fit the concept of clean architecture, because we don't want logic here. We want the logic to be here. So that's why I started to refactor out ZSA away from, you know, my server actions, because I don't need it. And I've done the whole refactoring for the collections. I've also done some pages. So we have the links actions, and to like do a pass and make sure that all of the pages do not use, don't use Supabase directly, and don't use use cases, but the pages should just use controllers. That's it. So let's begin. Here's the create link server action. We are in the links actions right now. Here's the create link server action. And this one, as you can see, is already refactored. And the good thing is that, look at this. You just, inside of the server action, you grab an input, you know, which is of type derived from a Auth schema. So there's the input validation, but I'm not actually performing the validation. I just use the type, so I can have type safety, so I can have typings, but I'm using this input schema inside of the controller to validate if the input is correct or not, right? Over here, I'm just grabbing the input with the specific type, so it tells me, you know, in the page, it tells me what input it needs to receive, and just passing it over to the controller. And there's a huge catch that catches all the different types of errors that can happen inside of the architecture, and I can react to it, right? If it's a input parse error, I would throw an input parse error, right here. If it's an unauthenticated error, I would just throw you must be logged in to create a link, right? And here's how create link looks like, right? If I go down into update link, boring, right? It looks exactly the same, because it should be the same, right? You invoke a controller, and then you handle all of the possible errors that could be thrown from any of the layers deep into the architecture. And then at the end, you either return a message, a status, you revalidate pages, etc. We are in Next.js land, so we do Next.js things, right? So yeah, the next one, as you can see, is the delete link. See, I'm still using the authenticated procedure. I'm doing the input check, the input validation here. I don't want to do that. So yeah, I'm going to create a delete link controller. Move all of these things over there. Get rid of ZSA and use it here, refactor the UI, and write some tests for it. So that's what we're going to do. Let me check some messages first. I hear and see very good quality. Nice. Your camera sometimes is distorted, but not the code, or with the code as well. That's just like, you know, I guess that's just like a dip into the internet. Yeah, thanks for the excellent work. I appreciate it, Juan. Yeah. Have you thought about moving components, hooks, actions in a higher folder called common, and keep only pages and Next.js requests, required files inside of the app? I guess that would be interesting to see. Right now, up at the top level, this file right here, this is Next.js. So this is this. App and application are not the same. I hate the naming, but we can't change this. App has to be app in Next.js. Whereas source, let me just do this. Source is everything, this, and this. Plus the DI, plus the middleware, because middleware has to be there. I don't think we can pull it out of the source file. That's like a Next.js thing. So yeah, I have to do this. You know, we have to do this because it's Next.js. But yeah, this is everything Next.js. It's not, as you can see, I have like underscore lib, underscore components. You know, there's like a group of authentication related and authentication related screens with their actions, which we need to, you know, refactor, etc. But yeah, the source file could keep the clean architecture stuff, and the app can keep only the next framework stuff. Yeah, and then we have like common. Of course, yeah, we can definitely do that. We can definitely do that. Yeah, I need to clean up the Next.js part because it's just wild. It is just wild. So yeah, that's gonna be like a. I keep everything in here the way that it is because this is the first serious app, or like the first project in App Router that I've, you know, been working on. So yeah, I do need some, you know, I do need a better way to structure my Next.js part of the code. This is some custom components and also the Shatsy and UI components. Lib is just like utilities. So we have like ZSA procedures, utilities, fuzzy filter, fake data, you know, some stuff like that. API, I have one update order API, which we need to revisit, and the Supabase authentication. Routes app is the actual app because this page is the landing page, and then app is the actual app. That's how I have it set up. I could split the marketing and application, but I didn't. So yeah, that's what's going on. And see, we have like collections table, and we have some components inside. It needs a good, you know, cleaning, but we'll get to it. Hey Gabriel, I was a little sick. I hope you're well. I'm very well, but I hope you're actually better now. Yeah. Yeah. So let's continue. Delete link. We need a controller for that. So I'm gonna go app, source, interface adapters, controllers. I'm just gonna create. There we go. These are all controllers, and also name them .controller.ts. So I'm gonna create delete-link.controller.ts because this is how we're going to be deleting the links, right? And what this one involves, get link use case and delete link use case. So we have two use cases inside of that controller. At the end, we can see we revalidate the path, but the links, so we're not using the results from these two. And I'm just sending a link deleted successfully. That means for this controller, we're not going to be needing a presenter because it's not going to return anything, right? We don't need to return the deleted link, right? There we go. So here's a new file, export async function delete link controller. It is going to get an input delete link input, which already exists, and it's just a fingerprint of the link that we want to delete. And it's going to be return a promise of void because we don't actually need to return anything, right? So first order of business, grab the data and the error, which we'll name input parse error, and we'll just say delete link input schema, which is the Zod schema, save parse the input, right? If the input parse error exists, we're gonna throw a new input parse error, and this is my own custom error where the name is gonna be the message is gonna be input parse error.name. I still haven't tested this, so it might be something else. I just put the name and I forgot to test it. So like actually click tested, not unit tested. And then we have the cause, and I'm passing the whole input parse error right here. So this is how the first if inside of the catch can be caused. And inside is very important inside of all of these controllers, because the error happens here. This is where I need to report this to Sentry, right? I was like, should we grab all of the errors and report them once at the, report them once at like the server action level, or report errors to Sentry whenever they happen? And I feel like this approach is better. It does contribute to more code being written, but it removes the possibility of missing out on reporting an error. So I feel like this approach is better. We're gonna write more code, but we won't miss or forget to handle any error. So yeah, that's why I think we should be reporting errors to Sentry wherever they happen, at the exact place, and then let them bubble up so that whatever from the web/UI layer uses or triggers them, it can handle them appropriately. But they're gonna get reported to Sentry at the exact place where they happen. So I'm reporting this to Sentry, and I'm throwing the input parse error, but that means our data is actually now all good. So what I need to do is, let me go back to the actions. First I need to use the get link use case to get the link and just delete it, and that's it, right? Link is gonna be await get link use case. There it is, and come on now, import it. There we go. And the fingerprint is going to be data.fingerprint. And then we'll just do await, delete link use case, bring that in as well, and pass the link. There we go. That's the controller, right? The controller itself will throw the input parse error because that's the responsibility of the controller. Make sure that the input is valid, right? Input validation happens inside of the controller. That's why I don't need ZSA anymore. And I'm still using the input schema from Zod, the same one that I used. See, delete link input schema is here, but it's the same one, right? So it just reuses it. Manhart, I feel like you have a different keyboard on every stream. Imagine like using different keyboards for streams. That would be wild. All right, so there we go. Input parse error happens here. The get link use case will throw its own errors, and those are going to be like the unauthenticated and unauthorized. And that's why we have tests, to make sure that all of those errors will be thrown at these, at the exact scenario. And they do. So it works, right? The architecture works. This is going to throw an unauthenticated and unauthorized. This is going to throw as well. Let's see. Yeah, give me the authentication. Give me the user. Unauthorized if you can. So get user, the service will throw the unauthenticated. That means you're not logged in. But the use case will check, okay, you are logged in, but can you delete this link? It's not yours. You can't delete other people's links. That's why I'm going to throw an unauthorized. You're not authorized to delete this link. So, see, on every layer, we throw one error. Service throws unauthenticated. Use case throws unauthorized, because authorization checks happen in use cases, right? And then we just, delete the link. And the repository itself will most likely throw the, don't have it here, but it's going to throw the operation error. And I still don't have like a good name solution for that, but I'll figure it out. I'll get to it. But yeah, that's basically what the delete link controller And I have a typo, should be delete link controller. There we go. So I'm gonna get back here. I don't need this one. And I'm just gonna copy this whole block. There's a lot of copy paste, and that's good. And I'm gonna paste it here at this point. I'm gonna trim away these lines, and I'm gonna convert this delete link input, bring that type in, remove this one, pass the inputs in. It should be the delete link input. Oh, delete link controller, the new one, and there we go. This one is the same, and it should stay the same because that's how the UI handles it. We only invoke the controller, and then we just say you must be logged in to delete a link. I see a lot of opportunities to, abstract this in a function. I didn't, just so I can see if there's gonna be any changes when it comes to handling errors, and the only changes are these two, the messages. So this can be like a good opportunity to refactor this. And so I don't do all of these cases. I'll just do, invoke that function, pass in the messages, and that's it. Okay, so there we go. This is gonna be it. Delete again, delete, and that's it. So the next thing that I want to do, right, the server action is refactored. Let's go and see how it's being used. This is how it's being used. See that? That shouldn't happen. So I'm going to refactor this one to be an async function that takes in the input, which is the delete link input type. There's gonna be a try catch inside. On the catch, I still haven't figured this out, but I put a tsignore because I want to do toast.error. And if I don't put this part, it's gonna complain because error is of type unknown. And I want it to be of type, like error. So I can fix this by forcing that type on it, but I still haven't tested it. So that's why I'm keeping this as like with tsignore. So I'm going to remove this part, move the success at the top, and all that I'm going to do here is just say await, delete, link, which is going to be the action, and I'm going to pass in the input, and that's it. Yeah, that's all. So now I'm going to go and actually test it out to make sure that this delete link actually works, right? No other errors should be here. Yep, all good. And this is where this is app links, and then there's the delete link. So app links, let's hit the personal website, delete link. It's gonna ask me, are you sure? Yep, link deleted, personal website is nowhere to be seen. So there we go. UI remains the same, right? We refactored the app. We don't use ZSA anymore. The UI remains the same. We have the feedback at the bottom. We still have type safety because delete link does receive an input that has this shape, right? And if we put something like this, it's gonna complain, right? You can't put that. It needs to be a fingerprint, right? And that's when it's gonna be happy. So here's the input itself. I just use Auth for type safety in this case. Really. Here's the delete link input that came from the delete link input schema that's also being used as the input type for the server action. And it's also being used as the schema to parse the input on the controller level. So type safety with just plain Auth. And I have Auth anyways, so yeah. Okay, there we go. I don't need this file right here. Let's go back to this one. So it works. I'm deleting stuff. I'm deleting 2 lines. I brought in 1 line and I deleted 2 lines. To me, that's success. So all we need to do is now write a unit test for this. So let's go all the way down. Tests, controllers, delete link.controller.test.ts. right? And I'm going to open this one, and I'm going to open the delete collection because I'm going to copy paste a whole bunch of things like this. So I'm not going to be needing this. I'm going to be needing these, and I'm not going to be needing this. I'm going to initialize the container before each test and destroy it after each test. Import reflect metadata inside of the test because tests are not, in Next.js. I have this solved for Next.js, but in order to solve it for tests, you need to do this in front of every test. And then we'll just start writing tests, right? So the first one is going to be, it should pass for valid input, right? So first tests is always like the happy path tests. Let's just make it pass, right? And here's how I authenticate. Inside of tests, I'm using the get injection method to grab the whichever authentication service is registered. So in testing, that's going to be the mock authentication service, and I'm just signing in with these passwords. This third argument is the what's the name? Turnstile token, which is like a reCAPTCHA. Supabase needs it, that's why I'm passing it. I don't like it, but it has to be there. So that's how I authenticate myself. And because this is the delete link, I need to create a link. So link equals await create link use case. I'm using use cases inside of the controller tests. So I'm going to create a link with the URL set to, I don't know, bfed.sh and the label set to bfed.sh, right? There's our link. And now I want to just delete it, right? So expect delete link controller, and we'll pass in the fingerprint link.fingerprint, and I need to import this one as well to resolve, right? And to be to match to be undefined. Yeah, we're not returning anything in this case, so I just want it to be undefined, right? Create a link and then just delete it. That's it. So if I run this test, there we go. You see this? Very nice. This means that it works. I can even like make these tests more, in detail. For example, let's bring in the links repository, get injection, get the links repository, and then just do expect links repository dot get link, right? Link dot fingerprint to resolve, right? And to match the object, because this is going to return us a link. To match the object, URL is going to be link.url. The label is going to be link.label. The fingerprint as well, it's going to be link.fingerprint. The created by is going to be my own user sign in with passwords, which is just one in this case, because it's like one at bfed.sh, right? And I can also even pull in the like date.js and match on the date, but I'm not gonna do that in this case. It's not gonna bring any value, right? So yeah, run the tests. There we go, right? It matches, it still passes. If I say login with user 1, create the link, and now make sure that the link is created by user 2, this is gonna break. See that? It doesn't match, right? Because, yeah, it doesn't actually match. So that's how we know that our tests are working, right? Oh, hold on a second. There we go. Let's go back here now. And open this on the side. There we go. So created by should be 1. And now I can also say expect, like after I delete it, the deletion should be successful. It should resolve, not reject, but I can still do links repository dot get link dot fingerprint to actually reject, right? To throw error. Actually, not to be instance of. Let me double check what happens inside of the repository when we don't have. I think it was like, yeah, it was not found. So to be instance of not found error. There we go. Edward, how's it going? Error with R and bring it in. There we go. So this is more detailed testing, right? Create the link, make sure that it's created, right? Now delete it. Now make sure that it's actually deleted. And I'm using the repository to get that, you know, get the truth, basically. Test the truth. So there we go. Run this, should be good. Oh no, it's not good. It resolves instead of rejecting. Ah, I see it now. So most likely this line right here, or yeah, delete link controller. Hold on a second. To be undefined. What is it? Resolves instead of rejecting. Get link should not resolve. Catch you in a few. Gotta get to the office. Right, John? I'm gonna say it. Thanks for tuning in, by the way. This is weird. Let me see what's wrong. Okay, so we had a rejection here, but there we go. See that? Links repository, get link. Oh my god. Check this out now. I'm not actually awaiting these, and I keep forgetting to await these because I don't need to, but like I definitely need to. I need to await these. Otherwise, you know, it's gonna delete it, but we don't wait for it. So it still shows up. Let's see. There we go. Okay, cool. So unit testing. And if I in future do something that's going to break you know, the functionality of deleting links, the tests will show that. And it wasn't really a big deal, you know, to go through this, because these are like, this was very easy to write, right? Yeah. So this is the happy path. Let's check out the authentication. So should throw unauthenticated error when unauthenticated. So let's bring in. I'm just gonna do. Actually, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna grab these 3 lines, right? Sign in with user 1 just so you can create a link, because you can't create a link without being signed in. So sign in with user 1, sign out, authentication service, let's sign out. So sign out and now try to delete, you know, and now try to delete the link. You will receive unauthenticated because you're not logged in. You're not a user, you have no links, right? So expect delete link controller with the fingerprint link.fingerprint to reject, and to be instance of the error itself should be an instance of unauthenticated error. Let's make sure that this is the case. There we go. You see? So this means that a smart person cannot get into my app and just start deleting links because they're not logged in, right? So now let's check what if they are logged in, but they're trying to, you know, delete someone else's link. So that should throw unauthorized. Unauthorized. What? Oh, unauthorized error when unauthorized, or when deleting someone else's link. I don't, you know. I don't have any tips for making these descriptions, but yeah. Again, async, callback. Grab this thing, including the sign-outs, right? So create one link with the user 1, sign out, sign in with user 2, and then try to delete the link that was created by user 1. And this time is going to be an unauthorized error. There we go. All right. See? Rock solid. And it's going to keep that way. So, clean architecture, right? This is good. This helps me sleep better at night. There's the unauthorized error. There's the unauthenticated error. Before we actually do those, I also, because this should pass for valid input, let's also make one for should throw input parse error for invalid on invalid. Damn it, input, right? And this is not going to be awaited. I'm just going to do ts ignore because I have type safety, and now we want to avoid that type safety because there is no type safety in JavaScript after it compiles and after it's run, you know, in the wild. So ts ignore here, expect delete link controller without a fingerprint to reject and to be instance of input parse error. You can't invoke the controller if you don't pass a fingerprint, right? Or whatever the you know, input schema defines. So run this. Beautiful. Look at that. See, for example, if I do something like this, it's not gonna pass. It's not gonna throw. You know, it says cannot find a link with that fingerprint because it's not found error. But yeah, this means that my test is working, right? So delete in curly brackets, braces, save this, rerun it, and there we go. If we invoke delete link container without, you know, or even without this, without any data, should just, you know, it should throw input parse error. And that's how we can, you know, make sure that our controller can also reject, you know, based on the invalid input. So there we go. Hey Velinov, what are you doing? How are you? I'm very good. I'm refactoring the app just to, you know, try to catch some more edge cases that might have, you know, missed our radar. But so far so good, you know. Now we have one more test file which I run. Everything runs, and if I run the whole tests folder, look at that. Clean and green. Lovely. Moving on. Okay, delete all of the buffers, close all of the buffers, and we're gonna go. What is this plugin? This is Neotest, I believe. Yeah, Neotest with the vtest plugin. It's cool, right? Bam. It basically runs npm tests behind the scenes. I haven't run that one. Let me see. npm run test. Let's see what happens. Yeah, immediately. Nice. I don't need to wait for this. I'm just gonna return to def, and let's just actually push first. Delete link controller plus tests, right? So I feel like the tests are okay. Let me just take a peek again. Yeah, we're checking for deletion, and we are really checking for deletion. And we're avoiding delete link control. We're not actually basing our tests on the return value of the delete link, because inside I can just say, you know, I can just say this, and it's still gonna pass, right? Check this out. Let's just like make sure that we're actually deleting this. Yeah. So we're not expecting based on repository, we just expect the delete link controller to be undefined, right? If I run this, see, it's still passing, but is it really passing? It's not actually deleting the link, right? So if I bring these back, check this out. No, you know, it resolved, the promise resolved instead of rejecting. That means this one didn't reject. It actually resolved. That means it's not throwing a not found error. It's actually resolving with a result. That means the delete link controller didn't delete the actual link. So that's why we need that. There we go. Save this. And now I should be, yeah, VSD should be clean. You're working on a website. That's cool. I want to see it. Send it over in my Discord server. Yeah, let's check it out. All right, we're good here. Let me just like rerun the tests. These ones. There we go. Clean. Let's move on then. Let's go back to the. And by the way, we're only gonna be streaming 2 hours this time because I have a meeting at like noon. So we have like 56 minutes to do as much refactoring as we can. So I'm gonna be faster now. Yeah, there we go. Delete link. Next one is toggle link visibility. Let's see how we use it. This is how we use it. We also have a pending, which we need to convert into a use state. We have to, because we're doing this switch. But so far so good. Let's move on. Boom, boom. Delete this. Convert this into a toggle link visibility input. There we go. Remove this. So it's pretty much ready. Now let's go ahead and create the actual controller. Toggle link visibility dot controller dot ts. First, let's see. As you can see, we are using the fingerprint, but we're using the fingerprint based on the input, so we still don't need to return anything in this case, right? Yeah. Okay, let's keep it simple then. I'm gonna open this on the side. Export async function toggle link visibility controller. The input is gonna be toggle link visibility input, and the promise, what is that? No, this one. There we go. And it's gonna return a promise of void. There we go. So first order of business, validate the input, right? Data and error, and we put the error, we alias the error as like input parse error, just in case we handle other errors down the line. We don't, but so input, what was that? Toggle link visibility input schema, because we want the actual schema in this case. Save parse the input, and if the input parse error exists, throw it. Throw a new input parse error, which is our own error, input parse error.name cause input parse error. There we go. In here, what do we need to do? We have a link, we have a collection. First, we need to grab those two, right? So let's grab the link, get link use case, and it's going to be data dot link primary key, and this is going to do the authorization, authentication checks, the whole thing. Let's also grab the collection use case. There we go. So this is data dot collection underscore pk, and then we can just say await update link visibility use case, this one, and that's the link, that's the collection, and the visibility is data dot checked in this case. That's the controller. It doesn't actually return anything. Royer, you don't use VS Code anymore? Not really. Yeah. Because I feel more productive in NeoVim with, you know, Vim motions and stuff. Okay, we have our controller. Let's just use it here. Grab this whole thing except the last one because we still want to handle the revalidation the same. And instead of delete link, we want to say toggle link visibility controller. Bring that in. Come on now, what is it? Okay. Let's go back to the controller. Did I actually forgot to? Yeah, there it is. Toggle link visibility controller. Why is it? There we go. Okay, it's just a bit lazy. You must be logged into toggle link visibility, let's say. Everything else stays the same. And now for the revalidation, because we're basing this on the collection, we don't have the collection. We'll just say input dot collection pk. You know, if we reach this point, then the operation is succeeded. So that means the input is validated. That means the collection exists. That means the link exists, and it's actually toggled. So we can say that it's safe to use input in this case, right? Because input is just a type. It's not validated, the variable itself, but at this point is. So input dot collection pk. There we go. Refactored. So let's go find the reference in the switch here. And what we want to do is first is pending, set is pending, use state, bring that in because we don't use it, and false is going to be the by default. And in this case, execute is going to be an async function that takes in an input of type toggle link visibility input. It has a try catch inside. It has a TS ignore because of the message. It has this toast up there. Oh, we don't even need TS. Oh, actually we do TS ignore here. There we go. And on success, it does this. And then it does wait, toggle link visibility. And it passes on the inputs. And we don't need this. And now here, set is pending. I want to say true. And then in the finally case, I want to say set is pending to false again. In both cases, right? In case it succeeds or errors out, we want to say false. Everything else should be the same. ZSA is refactored out. We're using the validation schema from the interface adapters. Here's the action. Everything is looking good. So this is running. That means I can go inside of any of the collections. Let's say this one. And let's see this one first. We have the Discord and the YouTube channel. If I open this as logged in, I see Discord and YouTube. And if I open this in incognito, I see Discord and YouTube. If I don't know, if I toggle the visibility, first it works fine, right? Link visibility changed. We see the feedback here. We can see that this, I'm not sure if you noticed, but it was like a little disabled and not. You see that little icon? I don't think you can see it. It's way too fast. But it, you know, the is pending works. And now this is hidden. If I open it, I'm still gonna see it because I'm logged in. It's my own link. I just don't make it obvious. But if I open this in incognito, I'm not gonna see the YouTube channel, right? I only see Discord server. So functionality wise, it still works. The UI is happy. The refactoring is done. Now we need to write some tests. So, bam, bam, bam. Let's go to the tests. There's a controller. go to the tests, toggle link visibility dot controller dot test.ts. I'm gonna open this one, and I'm gonna open this one and just like grab the whole thing at the top. I'm not gonna need this one, I'm not gonna need this one. This one is all right. So first, happy path should pass with valid input. So let's make the happy path first. I want to grab authentication, and I need a function for this one, so I can like sign in with one, sign in with two, you know. So I don't need to copy paste this, but yeah, there's too much refactoring going on. I'll eventually get to that as well. All right, we're signed in, right? Because we're starting off with a blank slate, we need to create a collection first. Create collection use case. There we go. And the collection is gonna be, it's gonna have a title. Damn it. It's gonna have a title, collection. Let's be boring about this. It's gonna have a link. Create link use case. There we go. The data is gonna have a URL, bife.sh, and a label, bife.sh. There we go. Boring, right? Now we need to add the link to the collection. So await, add link to collection use case, add link to collection use case, right? We have the link, we have the collection. Cool. And now we need to toggle the visibility. By default, it's gonna be visible, right? So we can do like, let's see, collection link repository, get injection, collection link repository. Let's just not type it out, and await, expect that the collection link repository dot get links for collection. I don't have that. I don't have like an individual get link for collection. Okay, then in that case, I want to do, actually no, let's do this, get links for collection, right? I want to test it. So collection.fingerprint. So this should resolve, right? And to match the length resolves, and then length of 1, right? So after adding the link to the collection and we, you know, dip into the database, we should have 1 link. Let's see if it works. It does work, right? If I say 2, it's gonna say, what are you doing? Just like 1 link, right? There we go. So let's bring this back to 1. That means our unit test is working so far. And now we're gonna actually test the toggle to have the length of 1. And I'm not saying that it's, you know, yeah, I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna say links equals await. Yeah, let's do that. And then I'll say just expect links to resolve, not to resolve it because it's already resolved, to have length 1, and then expect links to match object. And I want to say an array with where the first object has a link. What was the type? Visible order. Yeah, so it's gonna be visible set to true, order set to 1, and link set to link, right? Yeah, okay. Let me run this and make sure that it's running, it's passing again. Cool. So with this, we are dipping directly into the database through the repository, and we make sure that there's only 1 link and it's visible and it matches the one that we created, right? That comes from the create link use case, this one. Cool. Now let's actually toggle it. So await, expect. These don't need to be awaited, but this one needs to be awaited because it's going to be a promise. So toggle toggle link visibility controller, because that's what we're testing. Not Copilot. Not Copilot. Where is it? I had a typo, didn't I? Yeah. What's the input? Link collection and checked. Okay, so let's do collection pk. I need to change this. Collection dot fingerprint, because it's fingerprint everywhere, right? Collection pk link dot fingerprint, and then checked should be false, right? So we are toggling. Don't do this. Okay. Toggle doesn't accept a value. Toggle means I'm gonna read what's currently there and I'm just gonna do the opposite. And in this case, I say, is it checked or not? That's not toggle, that's set link visibility. It's not toggle link visibility. Okay. Whew. So this should resolve, right? And to match, and actually should be undefined, because we're not returning anything, right? It's a promise of void. Okay, this should also pass. There we go, but we're not done yet. What we need to do next is do this thing again, right? And it's gonna be new links. Yeah, new links. To match, still it should still be 1, but this time visible needs to be false. Okay? Right? If I set this to true, so if it was true and I toggle it and it's true again, that means toggle doesn't work. There we go. It actually does work. So it was true, we toggled it, now it's false, and that's valid. There we go. Happy path, done. Let's do the next one. It should throw input parse error on invalid input, right? And this is again, it's gonna be async because I need to be creating a whole bunch of things. So I'm gonna grab the top of this test until, and I'm also gonna grab this one as well. Do I need to? No, I don't need to. I just need to say expect toggle link visibility controller without any data to reject and to, Will, is this iTerm 2? No, it's Kitty. Use Kitty, yeah. Here's my, let me see, because a bunch of you asked github.com/nikolov/lazar/.files. Here's my link to my .files, and this is how I have them configured. It's correct, right? Should be correct. Yeah, go to site. Yeah, these are my .files. The ever-evolving .files. And to, in this case, we need an input parse error to be instance of input parse error. Bring that in. So see, we actually have the TypeScript complaining now, so I'm just gonna shut it up because this can happen. Run this. Oh, look at that. Toggling visibility. What are you talking about? Toggling visibility controller. Do I have a typo? Yes, I do. Visibility. Visibility. You see that? Ugh. So visibility. There we go. That's why it was like weird. Like, why is this happening? Visibility. Visibility. Run this. Visibility controller. There it is. Okay, so now there's like a bunch of things happening. Let me run this. It's not happening. Let me see the output. Toggle link visibility control. That's not true. Yeah, So I didn't save the file, didn't I? There we go. Okay. Okay, so this is also good. You know, if we try to call this toggle invisibility controller with empty, it's just not gonna work. I'm also gonna do, yeah, let's make this a bit more, you know, let's make this a bit more, bit more verbose. So check this out. I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna test for, is it added to the, you know, collection link, because this one will, so this is going to work just fine. Sign in, create all of these things, right? First, I want to wait this, and I want to invoke this without anything, you know, with like just, there it is. But then I want to do another case where I do this basically. I'm going to remove momentarily the TS ignore. So collection PK is going to be set to collection.fingerprint, and link PK is going to be link.fingerprint. But we're not going to pass the checked one. See, it's going to be like property checked is missing. I know. TS ignore. Right? Here. TS ignore here. It should still throw input parse. There we go. If I do this then, it should still throw. And if I do all the permutations, right? If I do this, it should still throw. And if I do this, all the wrong, you know, yeah, it just passes. There we go. So here's our input parse error for this scenario, because we have like, if we have 3 inputs, the collection PK, the link PK, and also the checked property, then we want to really test out, you know, all of the permutations and make sure that it's taking into account all of the, you know, all of the possible variations or possible ways to invoke this. So we're happy now. Would you say Kitty feels faster compared to iTerm 2? I don't know. It's not faster. It's just like I don't know. I don't know why I use Kitty. I think I couldn't figure out how I can, you know, get the synchronize my configuration for iTerm, and, you know, have it be part of my dot file. So that's why I decided to use Kitty. You know, might not be the answer you're looking for, but both are good. I think I do have iTerm. Yeah, there we go. I do have iTerm. I just don't use it. So yeah. What else do we need? We need the unauthorized and unauthenticated. So let's try that. Should throw unauthorized. Damn. Okay, so this is not gonna be, it actually is gonna be, I need to set it up properly. It's gonna be async. It's gonna have all of these things. So sign in, create the link collection, add it, and then sign out, right? Authentication service dot sign out. And now make sure that it throws. So let's go back to the happy path. There it is, happy path. And instead of results, we're gonna change that to rejects. So you have created the link and collection, you've added it together. Now you wanna toggle this. It's not gonna resolve, it's gonna reject. And it's not gonna be undefined, it's going to be instance of unauthorized error. Save this, run this. No? Oh my God, unauthorized. It's not unauthorized, it's unauthenticated. Okay, I keep forgetting about this. Okay. Authenticated error. we're not authenticated. You get the, yeah. No authenticated error. Run this again. There we go. Okay. All right, I'm gonna try this again, but it's gonna be for the actual unauthorized now. Unauthorized error when okay. It's not when unauthorized, it's when authenticated. There we go. Damn it. Whew. So authorization and authentication. What a mouthful. In this case, we are going to sign out and we're gonna sign in with a different user, right? With 2. And now we're gonna try to toggle someone else's links, you know? So these 2 are created by user 1, and I'm gonna switch over to user 2, and I'm gonna try from user 2 to actually change the visibility to, you know, to the link. So this is gonna be an unauthorized error. There we go. Run this. There we go. See that? I can even do like permutations, you know. Let's do that. So we are signed in with 2 at this point, right? So I'm gonna create, this is gonna be collection 1 and link 1. I'm going to create collection 2 and link 2, you know, with the same title, same URL, doesn't matter. Those are not like primary keys. Collection 2. And now check this out. I'm logged in with 2, right? I want to make sure that I can't do collection 1 and link 2, where one of them is mine, but the other is not, you know? This should be unauthorized because that's the first thing that should happen. Check for authorization and then check if the link, you know, actually it should be not found. You know, let me see. Run this. It runs. Okay, yeah, there we go. Because it's going to say, give me the link and give me the collection, right? This is going to return collection 1. It's not found. This is going to return collection 2. It's not found. Link 2. It's not found. But these are not the same, you know, made by the same user. We don't care. They are going to be returned. But if I try to toggle them, it's not going to work, right? So we are, this is not own collection, own link. Now let's do the other way. I'm actually going to sign out and sign in with 1, right? And now user 1 is going to try to do own collection and not own link. So user 1 has collection 1, and now we're gonna do link 2 from user 1. So this should also pass. And it does, because it doesn't actually do anything. Yeah, there we go. That's good. Not on collection, on link. And this case was not on collection, not on link, right? So these are both not on. This is not on collection, on link. And this is on collection, not on link. So there we go. That means we don't need collection 2. We just need 1 link so that we can, you know, achieve the 3 permutations, you know, not true and then true not. Okay, this is a good test, right? We have the tests. We checked if the UI is working, and it is working. Oh, look at that now. It's not a function. Hold on a second. Am I running this? Interesting. You see that? What happened there? I didn't save the file. I renamed the function, but I didn't save the file. Check this out. See how much we got rid of? Actually, was this the last one? Yeah, it was the last one. Okay, toggle link visibility now points to the actual controller. So if I refresh and hit that again, we should see that. Okay, yeah. When I renamed when I fixed the typo, the E visibility, when I fix the typo, NeoVim will update, the usage in all of the files, but it's not going to save the file. So I needed to like save it. So I can also do WA write all. It's going to go through all of the files and save them. But there we go. We have tests. We can confirm that it's working. Let's check it out again. YouTube is now not shown. I can see it here because I'm logged in, but in incognito, I cannot see it, right? If I even log in with a different user, we should still not see it. So let me try to log in with that. Hold on, I think I had a... move this here. Focus. Let me move this here and let me find that username, because I have like a username, like an email password user, which is a different user than the one that I'm currently logged in. Okay, so in incognito, I'm logged in with a different user. I'm gonna try to open this one. There we go. You see, this is a different user. We don't see the link. Why? Well, the test also said so, right? And YouTube channel is here because I can see it because it's mine. Okay, that wasn't a test, but yeah, I think I have tests for that. That's done. That means git push and moving on. So this is toggle link visibility. There we go. Controller plus tests. Bam. All right. One more down, and we actually refactored ZSA out of the link server actions as well. We have authorized auth actions. I'm not sure we're using ZSA there, but we need to check. Right now, looking at the imports inside of the actions, we can see we're using controllers and we're using validation schemas. And that's it, entities, errors and stuff. These are the authentication errors or authorization errors, and these are the common errors like input parse error and operation error. There should be like not found somewhere, maybe, I don't know, but we'll see. So far, ZSA is refactored. I'm gonna go to lib ZSA procedure and see where this is actually being used. Nowhere. That means I don't need ZSA procedures anymore because we're not using it, right? And let me try to search for something. ZSA dash. We have ZSA React here. And what is this? There's a use server action that is not being used anymore, right? So, not file browser, but search ZSA. Let's just search for ZSA. We should not see it anywhere. Oh, we do. Okay, yeah. This is the, yeah, we need to refactor this. And this is using directly services, but we need controllers for these as well. So we have like 25 more minutes. Let's attack the last actions.ts. And then at the end, we'll just remove the ZSA package. We have forgot passwords, reset, sign up, sign in with provider, and sign in with passwords. Okay, I don't think we're gonna finish refactoring this whole thing. But yeah, at the end, I'll just, we're just gonna do npm uninstall ZSA because I don't really need it anymore in this project. Cool, let's begin then. Sign in with passwords. We need a new controller. These are the tests. Sign in with passwords.controller.ts. Put it on the side. Export async function. Sign in with passwords. It's gonna have an input. Sign in with passwords. Input. We don't have it. Yeah, we don't have it because I didn't do the thing over there. There we go. So this is the form schema. Check this out. Export type sign in with password form in z.infer type of sign in with password form schema. Correct. And now check this out. Export type, and I'm gonna let type of sign in with password input schema. There we go. So for the remaining, I'm actually gonna do export type and ask not ChatGPT but Copilot to do the thing. Come on now, be smart. Sign in with provider input schema. There we go. Hey those, how's it going? Sign up output schema. Interesting. Yeah, we also have that. There we go. Now it's smart. Export type, sign up, form schema. There we go. Sign up input schema. Input schema, reset password. See, I don't actually type these. I let Copilot do the repetitive stuff. Forgot password, reset password. These are all inputs. Sign up, and there we go. So this is done. That means if I do this, there we go. It shows up now. And sign in with passwords is actually a promise of void because it doesn't actually return anything, right? Yeah, the authentication service also is promise of void. So it's going to be a promise of void. There we go. First, we need to validate the input data. An error. Input parse error. That means, you know, sign in with passwords and you don't provide a password, you get an input parse error. Sign in with passwords input schema. Bring that in. Dot save parse the input and check if there's an input parse error. Throw new input parse error. This is the one. Input parse error dot name cause input parse error. There we go. Okay, now what do we need to do? We just need to do await sign in with password. But before we do that, we also need to grab this service and just sign in. That's all. And it's not going to be input. It's going to be data. Yeah. Authentication service, sign in with password. There's the data that is pre-validated. And then that's it. Right? So I'm going to keep this open here. I'm going to go over here and I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to do this. Controller. I don't have controller in the name. Now I do. Pass in the input, but also import that. Oh. There we go. And there's going to be a whole bunch of catch inside. I just need to check what those are going to be. I know that there's going to be the input parse error. There's not going to be an unauthenticated and unauthorized because no, we are trying to sign in. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to grab this part right here and replace the ZSA error with that one, and then just throw at the last, which is like a switch with a default case. There we go. Now let's get into the service itself. So infrastructure, services, and authentication service. Sign in with passwords. There's sign in with passwords. There's going to be an error. And it's going to be an unauthenticated error. No. Right? Sign it with provider as well. So I need to fix this. It's not going to be an unauthenticated error, but it's going to be an authentication. Authentication error. Like you tried to, you know, authenticate, but there is an error while doing so. So this is going to throw both of these. Come on now. There we go. Authentication error, and let's also import that one. So there we go. Authentication error. So input parse if we don't provide the, enough data, but there's also going to be an authentication error as well. Nice. Okay, so that can happen. Sign up should be the same, and reset. Reset is gonna be unauthorized. But this is gonna be like authentication. Because it's sign up. If you can't sign up, then, there's like an authentication error happening. Forgot passwords is just... This is the request. Forgot password is the request, and reset password is the actual writing in the database. This is just requesting. And if an error happens, I guess authentication as well. I don't know. Because it's not unauthenticated, right? You're not authenticated. If you're trying to reset your password, that means you forgot your password. That means you can't log in. That means you're not authenticated. So it's going to be an authentication error. I'm going to keep this in unauthenticated or not. I'm going to keep this as unauthorized error. Right? Because if you want to reset your passwords with the current token, which is already there, update the user, then and if it fails, then it's unauthorized. Like you can't do that for some reason. Maybe the token, because there's gonna be a token for the forgot password. Maybe the token expired, so no. That means we also have, well, not in sign in, not here. Sign in just does two things with passwords: authentication error and input parse. And if it's still something else, I just throw it here and then just do redirects, and that's it. So do this, sign in with password input, and just remove this, and there we go. Remove this one. Now let's go in the page where we actually use it. This one is a form data, apparently, but I don't actually need this. I don't need to make a form data. So email is going to be values. Actually, yeah, values.email, passwords, values.password, and the TS token is going to be the TS token. And we're definitely sure that it's going to be existing. So that's what I'm going to do, the force unwrap here. Okay, there we go. This is good. We don't actually need the data anymore because we're not sending the data. We're just sending, plain object. Don't send up form data because we want to do some stuff here. So it does return an error, sign in with passwords. So we need to make sure it's a promise of never, as you can see. But we're not actually returning, right? If there is an error, there's going to be an input parse error. And the message that we had actually was coming from ZSA. That means we need a try catch, right? So try here, try do this. If there's an error, we want to do this, right? Happy, right? There we go. Try signing in with the password. Don't expect like a result back, but if you catch an error, reset the turnstile token and set the error to the message. And let's see this in action now. Am I running this? Yep. So I can go sign out, and I'm going to try to sign in with something that doesn't work or exist, you know. Here's the token. Look at that. Invalid login credentials. I'm talking about sign in with passwords, right? So there's the message is that. Go here. It's gonna be most likely input parse error, right? Oh, it's not gonna be an input parse error. Sign in with password input schema. Oh no. Email and password. It's actually, yeah, the form schema, including the TS token. Nice. Okay, so we're using the actual service here, and the error dot message is gonna be that. If I don't do this and do this instead, and then hit sign in again, we'll see and do this instead. So the message that we pass to the UI is the one that comes from Supabase, which I think it's okay, right? There we go. Invalid login credentials. That's it. So the controller is done. We can actually test it out now, right? Sign in with passwords, and I do have some demo users 1, 2, and 3, so I can do like sign in with password controller, and then I'm gonna say authentication service, get the user, and then it matches the user 1. Then I'm gonna sign out, sign in with number 2, get the user, matches 2. If that works, that means this works. So let's go. Tests, and this should be sign in with password .controller.test.ts. Grabbing this part right here, paste this. We don't need this one, we don't need this one, and we also don't need this one. So it should pass with valid input, right? And we're gonna say await, expect, sign in with password controller. There it is. The input is going to be email 1@bfed.sh, password 1 password, and the the TS token. I don't care about that in testing. I'm not sure if I need to test that at all, but yeah. The videos have been super interesting. Many thanks. Oh, appreciate it, dudes. Thank you. Yeah, so this should resolve, right? And it should just be undefined. There we go. If I run this, it should just pass. It passes, but we're not done yet, right? We also want to bring in the authentication service. And also want to do await, expect, authentication service dot get user to resolve, right? And to match object. And let's see, when the user is actually ID and email. ID is going to be 1, email is going to be that one. So ID is going to be 1, email is going to be 1@buffet.sh. Are we correct? Yeah, we are. If I change this to .com, it's going to fail because that's not what the service returns. So that means our test is correct. Okay, buffet.sh, run it. There we go. Here's what I'm going to do now. Await authentication service dot sign out. So I'm going to sign out now. And I'm also going to sign in with a different account this time. 2. And again, I'm going to await the result back to be 2. So let's run that as well. There we go. It's passing nicely, right? The other one that we need to do is should throw input parse error on invalid input. Now let's see. It's not gonna be async because I can just do expect sign in with password controller, and I'm going to pass. I need to pass all these 3. So first, I'm gonna do reject to be instance of with capital O input parse error. There we go. And I'm gonna TS ignore this. Does it work? It does work. So I'm gonna do this now. One without an object, one with an empty object, one with an email, right? One with a password, one with move this down, one with email and password, both valid ones, but no turnstile token, right? And I guess that should be good. So if I run this, it still passes, right? So if I just pass a password, it's not going to happen. If I just pass an email, it's not going to happen. Even if I do pass email and password and I'm not passing the turnstile token, that means it probably is like a bot trying to spam, you know, my sign-in form. Still, just throw input parse error. We're not doing anything. So there we go. I don't think there's more to this. You know, sign in is either you signed in or not. Oh, let's sign in with wrong email and password. So it's not gonna be like a, yeah, should throw authentication error with wrong credentials. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's gonna be async, but I don't think it's gonna be async. It's not gonna be async. And I should probably await all of these because I have more now. So that means it is going to be async. Okay, so I'm gonna select the next 3. There we go. Go here. Await them all. Nice. And this one is also gonna be async. Oh my god, we have like 3 minutes left. Let's do this. I'm gonna grab this one. No TS ignore. TS token is gonna be like this. So we're gonna test good email, wrong password, right? Like the most common case. and it's gonna throw an authentication error. I need to bring it in. Okay, let's make sure that it runs. Oh, it's not, it doesn't run. Invalid credentials to be authentication. Well, yeah, it should be authentication error, right? Authentication service. Oh, now we're doing the mock. Okay, I forgot to, yeah, sign in with password. This is authentication error. Yeah, it's gonna throw an authentication error. See, your unit tests are just as good as your mocked services are, sadly. But yeah, it's an authentication error. If I'm trying to, and I still haven't mocked the rest of these, so there we go. We're not gonna actually finish this. But yeah, if I test this right now, where are we? Tests, come on. Where are the tests? Okay, let me reopen everything. Reopen the test. There we go. There's the tests. This one should be good now. There we go. Nikolai, thank you so much for these streams. They help a lot going into Next.js. I'm glad. And I appreciate you for these words. Thank you. All right, this works. Good email, wrong password. Let's try the other one. I mean, there's no good passwords and wrong email type of scenario, so let's just do wrong email and wrong password. We're still gonna do, you know, that case as well, just in case. It doesn't make sense, but you know, if there's a wrong email, which password is the good password? The one that's, you can't have like two users where one user types in their email and the second password is the password of the second user. It's not gonna happen, right? So let's just say wrong email, good passwords, just in case. So we'll just say one password. But yeah, all of these cases should throw an authentication error, and they do. So we have tests, we have the controller, we refactored the UI to use the, to reflect on the server action changes. We're not done yet, but so far we have everything, right? Let me just push this as well. Sign in with password controller plus tests. And this is going to conclude today's episode because, yeah, we are at time. I'm gonna jump in a meeting right now, but so far we didn't, so far we actually confirmed that controllers and, presenters, for some reason we didn't have any presenters, but yeah, just let me show you a presenter and how it looks like. If you're just like tuning in and, I'm gonna delete this as well. Let me quickly show you how a presenter looks like. I'm gonna get into the interface adapters, add link to collection. No, get collections table. There we go. There should be presenters here. So we are invoking one use case, the get own collections use case. There's no input. That means there's no input parse error, right? We're invoking one use case. That one can throw unauthenticated, unauthorized. But in the case when it doesn't, and we also get the collections back, which is like a, let me go in there. It is of type collection. Collection is an entity, right? So I don't want to return that. I'm going to pass all of those collections through the presenter, which takes in the collections from the models, from the entities, right? And it returns a plain object that matches the get collections table controller output, which is just, from the controller, give me only these properties, not all of them, right? And for the created at, it's not going to be like the database type of date, which is going to be like a string, a UTC string. I'm actually going to use day.js to convert the original one into this format. So it's going to be UI ready. What this means is that I don't need to use day.js in the browser. That means day.js, the library itself, is not going to be loaded into the browser. That means the website is faster. Maybe not significantly, but is this an optimization? The performance optimization technique? Yes, it does. So if we have a server and the server works to render the page, it should render the page, including the content, right, for the UI. So this is what the presenter does, right? It prepares the output of all of the use cases. And as you can see, we're using models, which are not UI friendly. These are the models that we need to, in our application. It uses the models it takes in the models as an input or whatever it is, and it makes an output, it outputs like a arbitrary type shaped data, which, does all of these things. So it doesn't include all of the properties. If this was a user, then it's not going to, if it's like given the user profile, it's not going to return the passwords, the hashed passwords. You don't need it, right? That's why you need a presenter to hide away some of these, some properties that you need for validation, but you don't need for the UI. There's a lot of them. And also for scenarios like these where you need to convert one format into another one, like dates or times, or maybe you have like an address field and you want to render an address, but in the database you keep the address and you keep the city and the zip code and the apartment number. You have multiple properties, but you want to render one line on the UI. Instead of shipping JavaScript to the browser and making the browser execute that JavaScript that puts together those multiple properties into one string, we're going to do that here in the presenter. There we go. Presenters, help us ship less JavaScript to the browser because they take care of all of those scenarios for us. Converting dates, stripping away any redundant properties from the database or from the models. So yeah, those are, controllers and properties. Here's another one, for example, which is the same. Okay, not cool, not interesting. Do we have like I guess only the getters have presenters. Yeah, in my case, actions or mutations don't actually return anything, but if they were, you would have like a presenter to pass them through. Like a DTO, you mean, or DBO? I don't know what DBO is, but like a DTO is domain data transfer object in a way. Yeah. So this will prepare a DTO, but a DTO specific and optimized for the UI, to render UI. So that's what the presenter does. So yeah. Hey Yannick, how's it going? And you just joined at the very last. I'm actually ending the stream now. But yeah, I think this is going to be the last episode for this series because we have everything. We have the whole clean architecture picture, all of the mechanisms, all of the parts and bits and pieces and everything. I'm actually ready to start working on the official course and on the project that, everyone is asking for. So that's what's going to happen. I'm not going to stream working on this anymore, but keep an eye on my channel because I'll be releasing the course whenever I finish it. DTOs, yeah. Yeah, so no more streams, no streams on Friday. Friday is actually my 30th birthday. I'm turning 30 on Friday, so happy birthday to me. Yeah, so this has been a blast. Yeah, let's end this streaming series with a what? I don't know. I guess I'm too tired at this point. But thank you all for watching. It was a really good series. My channel knows that. It gains like, I don't know. At the start of June, I was 1,800 subscribers, and now I'm closer to 6,000. So yeah, you folks appreciate this type of content. I'm just gonna keep, producing this type of content. Yeah, keep an eye on my channel. Make sure, happy birthday in advance. Thank you, Juan. Yeah. Make sure to subscribe to my channel because there's not going to be more streams about this. Might go silent for some time, but then I'm going to release the official course and the GitHub repo. So, in order to get notified, do all those thingies, like subscribe, the bell notification, I don't know, do all of those things so you can figure, you get notified when I push the content. And again, thank you all for watching. And yeah, I'm gonna see you in the next one. There's gonna be more streaming, that's for sure. There's gonna be more streaming. I do want to push Buffet out into production and to launch it and to have people use it. And to do that, I also want to deploy it on Hetzner, on a VPS, with Docker and everything. So I think that's gonna be my next stream, the topic at least. But we'll see. Yeah, Dockerizing and deploying Next.js on a VPS. So stay tuned. That one's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of gotchas when it comes to, deploying Next.js on a VPS. And I'm looking forward to solve all of those, all of those problems. But yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe because I'll be releasing the course in I don't know how many days. And I'm going to see you in the next video or live stream. All right, all. Yeah, take care. Bye.